Good evening. Welcome to this edition of Northeast Diary. Here we bring you the latest developments from India's unexplored Northeast region. Friends, today we have a very interesting story on how Sikkimese youth are turning farming into a lucrative career option. We also have an enlightening interview of folk musician Ban Shailang Mukhim from Meghalaya. The recognition of being the country's first organic state is inspiring Sikkimese youth to take up various farming practices, which is also being promoted by the state government through incentives as a step towards self-reliance. With this focus, Sikkimese youth are quitting their corporate jobs to start farming.
Vivek Timsina from Lingmu, South Sikkim quit his job as an engineer to start dairy farming in 2017. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, he was collecting 70 liters of milk every day, which would send to Sikkim Milk Union in Gangtok. Vivek, who completed his B.Tech from Tamil Nadu in 2014 and worked in the corporate sector for 2.5 years, took up dairy farming inspired by his grandfather. Although the scarcity of fodder during the pandemic impacted the quantity of daily milk production, Vivek continues to send his product, which is incentivized by the state government. Coming from the corporate world, Vivek feels dairy farming is easy as well as tough job, especially for the youth as they lack experience of work in farms. He shares his journey.
Working as a dairy farmer since I completed my B.Tech from Tamil Nadu in 2010 and started to work in a private sector for around 2.5 years. And after that, I thought of starting something of my own. After consulting with my parents, grandparents, they inspired me for starting a dairy farm, which is very easy and tough too, because dairy farm to serve cow is very difficult for us, as we the young generation have never done that as compared to people in olden age. So after inspired from my grandfather along with a person whom I met in Jorthang regarding dairy farming, I started dairy farming in 2017. Through many obstacles, up and downs, continued to work in it, and I kept on working it and have a daily collection of around 70 liters per day. But due to COVID-19, I was forced to sell some cows because of some crisis of raw materials such as fodder, each and everything. So after starting this dairy farm, we have to face a lot of problem regarding the rate of milk. Though after coming of new government in Sikkim, we had around 15 to 18 rupees increase in the rate of milk. So after that, we thought of increasing in lots of cow, but due to the second wave of COVID-19, we are not able to do that. So to the young generation, I would like to say any kind of work is not small or big, though we can work in it as in our interest. So I would like to say to every youth that working on a dairy farm is not a bad work. It's a very, very inspiring work for me through my elders. My future plans are increasing farming styles which we work daily, which like poultry farming, dairy farming, fisheries. I want to increase my career in farming because it is the basic needs for every people.
In the future, Vivek wants to make a firmer move to farming as he believes that farming is a basic necessity for humans. He wants to diversify into poultry and piggery farming and motivate the youth to follow in his footsteps. With Sankat Sarkar, this is Paija Sharma for Northeast Diary from AIR News Sikkim.
Let us now head over to Assam, where the success story of a progressive farmer of Dhemaji district has inspired people.
Sri Budheswar Pame, 45 years old and early adopter and progressive farmer, a resident of Shantipur village of Dimu from Dhemaji district in Assam, is an innovative farmer and able to design number of tools to make farm operation easy. He is on a process of writing a book on his innovative 22 years agriculture experience entitled Notun Arhi Krishi Hijuli Aru Unnoto Krishi Paddhati. Literally means new types of agricultural equipment and advanced agricultural procedure. Tools for line transplanting of paddy, red trapping case, tools for mud plastering of small dams, soil digging tools, medicine to reduce residual effort of pesticides, hand fork for paddy weeding, bird scaring tools, tools for taking out the hard cover from airy cocoa corn or coconut, threshing tools, etc. are some equipment designed and modified by Sri Budheswar Pame. Closely associated with Krishi Vigyan Kendra Dhemaji, since his inception, he has undergone number of training programs on different aspects in Assam, Sikkim, Jharkhand, etc., as well as honored as progressive farmer by number of government and non-government organizations. He is also able to set an example among the small farmers and success in farming with efficient mobilization of available resources. Pame, who earlier assisted his father and getting inspired from his father and one ordinary small handbook, Krishi Sarati, adopted farming as a profession as well as hobby after taking education of HSLC. Getting inspiration from his success, number of other farmers from his nearby village of Dimu like Gureshwar Pame, Dilip Pegu and other from districts are showing bright career in cultivation. Pame expressed with great satisfaction and pride. Presently, Pame is doing proofreading work for his books, searching for a financial advisor for publishing the book for the benefit of Agricultural Society. Pradhan Kumar Nath from Dibrugarh for Northeast Diary.
Reckitt, the global leader in consumer healthcare, has launched the Birds and Bees Talk program in Nagaland for children between the ages of 10 to 19. The Birds and Bees Talk program is a comprehensive growing up life skills education curriculum to help make children informed and empower them with critical information that promotes them to grow into responsible, healthy adults. A report from our Kohima correspondent.
Launched last year with the support of the state governments of Manipur, Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh, the Birds and Bee Talk program already has a 2-level interactive animated curriculum that covers growing up and life skills to promote the core principle of inclusion, awareness, consent, protection and equity. The holistic approach of the program envisages celebrating special days and important health days across the states, leveraging its rich music, art and culture, ensuring that knowledge is not limited till the restraint of physical classes. This year, the program is focused on deepening the impact in Nagaland by equipping thousands of adolescents and young people with a curriculum that will help them make informed choices and grow into healthy adults. It will be executed and implemented across Nagaland in government and private schools to ensure maximum reach and beneficiaries. In this, a memorandum of understanding was signed by Principal Director of School Education Department, Government of Nagaland, Shanawaz C. and Ravi, Director of External Affairs and Partnership, South Asia, Reckitt. For Northeast Diary, this is Asunyo from AIR News, Kohima.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman recently announced a host of development projects for Tripura, including 1,300 crore rupee worth project for the sustainable livelihood and infrastructure development of tribal people in the state. The minister announced the projects during her recent 2-day visit to Tripura. We have more from our Agartala correspondent Reena.
Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman was here in Tripura last week on a 2-day tour to monitor the progress and works of the ongoing externally aided projects in the state. During her visit, the minister announced a host of development projects and inaugurated a series of projects for the state. The projects include 1,300 crore rupees worth project for sustainable livelihood and infrastructure development for tribal people, 14 crore rupees worth project for the widening of 4 state highways, and 7 crore rupees for digitalization of Agartala Smart City. While announcing the projects in a public gathering in Mohanpur, the Union Finance Minister said that the ambitious project aimed to create sustainable livelihood and infrastructure development for tribal people in the state. The Finance Minister said that she had been told that the people living in the remote hamlets of the state do not have connecting roads to the national highways. Moreover, due to lack of connectivity, schools and other basic amenities can't reach the people. She further said that sustainable livelihood generation is also a priority of the government. Therefore, the government is going to implement this 1,300 crore rupees worth project. Ms. Sitharaman also inaugurated multi-crore projects during her visit. One such project is called My Pet, My Right, initiated by NABARD and a Foundation, which aims to bring livelihood and menstrual hygiene closer to rural women by way of grant, waste support and capital equipment. Besides, the Union Minister also inaugurated a 132 kV power station, 80,000 functional household tap waters, 7 projects under RIDF, SPA and a surface water treatment plant funded by ASEAN Development Bank. For Northeast Diary, this is Serena Nongmaitem from Magatala.
The country is celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav to commemorate 75 years of Indian independence. On this occasion, we are remembering our heroes from all corners of the country who had taken part in the national struggle for freedom and laid down their lives to secure freedom from the British Raj. Today, we will hear about an unpublished tale of an unsung hero of freedom struggle from Mizoram. He was Pu Thang Thi Awa. Our correspondent from Aizawl reports.
In a chapter of the history of the freedom struggle, Puthang Chiawa had fought against the Japanese soldiers, spent years as prisoner of war in Singapore, and was an armed revolutionary under the umbrella of the Indian National Army of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Puthang Chiawa was born in 1920 at Zong-in village in Saitwal district of Mizoram. He joined the British Army when he was 17 years old during the Second World War. He, along with the Indian soldiers, were sent to Singapore to fight against the Japanese, but the Japanese captured their war base and all those Indian soldiers were captured as prisoners. While imprisoned, the Japanese army tortured him severely and pressed him to join the Japanese army. But Thang Chiawa and many others did not bow down. The scene changed a lot when Subhash Chandra Bose reached Singapore in 1942. Professor J.V. Luna of Aizawl, who had interviewed Puthang Chiawa, shared a talk with AIR News.
Puthang Chiawa said they were treated very badly. They beat in their face so many times every day, and they wish their mess was very, very bad. It's not a satisfactory quantity. Because of that, Japan used to invite them to join them in their side. Puthang Chiawa said, Japan said, if you join our side, we'll give you full mess, as if Japan soldiers mess quantity. Japan said, we are going to win this war, and after the war, we'll drive the British out from India and we'll give you independence. When that Indian leader, Subhash Chandra Bose himself, invited us, he said, we enroll as if Indian National Army member. Puthang Chiawa said, soon after he returned after the war and settled down in Bethlehem, Aizawl. I interviewed him 2-3 times, and Puthang Chiawa achieved certain awards also. When I asked him, he said, it was because of my service in the hospital. I served for emergency service.
Professor Luna said that the British Army had labelled him as a traitor for joining the INA and sent him and others to jail. Nevertheless, there was never a moment in his life that Thang Chiawa regretted joining the INA and fighting for the freedom of his country. Puthang Chiawa died in 2015 in Aizawl. For Northeast Diary, this is Irene from Aizawl.
In Arunachal Pradesh, a reading movement led by Padma Shri Satyanarayan Mundayur is benefiting students in the rural part of Lohit district. A report.
The Lohit Youth Library, a network of libraries in Lohit and Lower Dibang Valley district in Arunachal Pradesh, is in a mission to instill the habit of reading books among children. Apart from providing free access to unlimited collections of books in their libraries, the organization is also doing regular workshops in the rural areas to improve children's reading skills and vocabularies. Satyanarayan Mundayur, who initiated this reading movement in this part of the state and the coordinator of Lohit Youth Library, say that motive of this workshop is to attract students to reading, which in turn will produce learning activity.
Read to Learn workshop, we wanted it to be, our library volunteers wanted it to be something specifically to attract the senior students to the benefits of reading, which will produce learning activity, learning output. That was one most important point which we felt, so far what we have been doing, we have been stressing on the joy of reading. Very often the senior students felt that it was only joy of reading and not learning output. So to dispel this misconception, we wanted wanted the reading activity to be very focused on a visible learning outcome. So what we did was we prepared the syllabus which will help them to improve their vocabulary skill, then develop their understanding of the language, and also reading practice, because most of the time they do not get the reading aloud practice. So they don't hear the correct accent, correct intonation while speaking English or reading English. So we wanted some drill to be done in that. So when volunteers do, the activity becomes very friendly to the learners. They don't feel that, a tense environment or the hesitation that we might fail in a learning activity. It's a very friendly environment. At the same time, we did reading track drill. Then how the story can be read out with intonation, and that helps you to improve your reading skill in English and speaking skill in English. This is one very important thing. Then we found that they had the difficulty in vocabulary, and they had confusion also even class 9 and 10 level, the distinction between how a noun structure is there, adjective and then verb. So how these are interrelated, how you can get an adjective from a noun and a noun from an adjective, this sort of thing. So, and what is the relationship with words? Through game activities we thought we will do.
Mr. Mundeyor has been awarded with the prestigious Padma Shri Award for his effort in promoting education through his reading movement in this rural part of eastern Arunachal Pradesh. For Northeast Diary, this is Rakesh Dole, AR News, Itanagar.
No celebration in Meghalaya is complete without the involvement of dance and music. Across the state, a number of religious or traditional festivals are accompanied by music, which is usually folk music. Though the state has produced many well-known musicians whom we have all heard of, most of them are Western musicians. But there are talented musicians who primarily focus on traditional Khasi folk music, and among them is Banchai Lang Mukim.
Banchai Lang Mukim is a talented young Khasi folk musician from Smith, East Khasi Hills district. The place is famous for the annual Nongkrem dance festivals, which draws visitors from different parts of the world. Born and brought up in a place where one of the famous festivals is held, Banchai Lang has always held traditional music to his heart. Let's get to know more about this musician.
Hello listeners of Northeast Diary, we are here with Banchai Lang Mukim, who is a well-known folk musician based in Shillong. Let's have an interaction and then get to know what he has done so far and then what inspires him. So Mr. Mukim, what inspired you to become a musician, and why traditional Khasi folk music when the region is well known across the country for its Western music?
Well, I was born in a family where we used to listen to music a lot, and then since I was a kid, our family listens to a lot of music and to different genre of music. And then when I was a kid, I remember my mom taking me to Yingsat during the practice for the preparation of the Nongkrem dance. So I was listening to the music playing by the musician there, and then it got stuck into my mind, and later on I came home and then I tried to practice and I tried to recap to whatever they did, and then I tried to even play it myself. But at that time I didn't have any instruments, but I just played it with using tools like benches, and then I use sticks from whatever I get. So I hope that is what has inspired me to become a musician. But most important of all, it's because I understand that it's a talent given by God to me. It's not something that I should force myself, but it's a talent that is given by God.
And what are the instruments that you play and the genre of music that you are familiar with?
Well, I play many of the folk musical instruments like the ksing, the bum, the duitara, and then the tangmudi, which is a wind instrument, and I do play guitar. And I have touched so many instruments, but these are the instruments that I touch the most. But regarding the genre of music, I used to listen to different genre of music. But I would also love to play different genre of music. I am not sticking to only one genre of music.
As a musician, and your career is a musician, folk musician, what is the favorite part of it?
Again, as a musician and as a performer, I am happy to get a stage to perform. Like whenever I get to perform on stage, that would be the happy moments for me. And if it has to take so many times to practice also, it's fine with me, because at the end of the day, I would be happy to be standing on stage and then perform in front of the audience. But most of all, and I was overwhelmed by my opportunity to get to play it during the Nongkrem Dance Festival, because I believe that it's the root of folk music among the Khasi, because it's like performing the roots of all the Khasi music, because it has considered as one of the systematic music.
And where do you get the inspiration? And where did you actually go to a music school based here in Shillong or something like that?
When I grew up, and then I asked my father to support me for some courses, and I went to Shillong School of Music for guitar. But then later on, I learned this folk music by myself. And then I'm happy that my parents have supported me in buying these instruments for me to learn.
When did you start playing or performing?
I don't remember the exact age. When do I start to play music? But then I remember when I was a kid, like in class 5 or 6, I start to get music into my head, and then I start, there's a time when I get scolded for playing drums in boxes, and these are the things that get me into music. Actually, I didn't like, when at times I didn't have any formal musical instrument, but I use tools like boxes, cartoons, and then different tools, materials from whatever I get, and then I use them to play rhythms. But later on, thankfully to my parents, they bought instruments for me, and then that's the time I improved myself.
Well, as of now, you have been a performer, a musician for so many years now. Has there been any collaboration with artists from the state and other regions in shows that you have performed?
As an artist and as a performer, I have been involving with so many artists of Shillong. I have played with Soulmates and the Clansmen. It's a project of the Soulmate. I've been teaming up with them, and we have been performing in different parts of the country. And then I've been an accompanist for Mr. Lamphang Simle, well-known singer of Shillong. And then I've been, I used to accompany Tadlakian Lake and many other artists whom they get in touch with me, and then they ask me to play. I would happy to go and play for them.
And then about the shows that you have performed in other parts of the places, have you gone anywhere?
Well, I have been playing different stages organized by different music company of India, and then by Sanki Natak Academy, and then by NHNCC. Those are the firms which looks into folk music, and then different programs by different organizations all over India. So I cannot name you right now the specific performance and the specific organization, but then there are lots of performance that I have been playing in around my state.
Has there been any recognition that has been given to you by the government or any organization?
Well, I was awarded the Northeast Young Talented Artist in 2016-17. I got the award in Itanagar. So after that I got recognized by the Martin Luther Christian University as one of the successful alumnus of the MLCU. Martin Luther Christian University, and then some of the recognition from the community, different organizations from the community also that has recognized my work.
Well, the last question that I would like to place forward is, how do you plan to pass on the knowledge of this traditional Khasi folk music to the younger generations?
Well, I have been doing this for some time now, and I have students whom I teach them folk music, and I do guide some of the researchers in the field of folk music. And I have been taking some of my students and some of my colleagues to different performance for them to get inspired to, not only to play folk music, but also to improve playing folk music, to improve their skills, and also to improve their performance as playing folk music into the audience. I've been doing this, and now because of this pandemic, we have stopped our classes. We have had so many classes here for folk music, and then we will continue.
Given an opportunity to work as a music teacher in a college or university, would you take that?
I would take, it depends on what kind of music also, and then because music teacher, it's not an easy task, because we have lots of category, lots of genre, and music teacher, we cannot teach all practicals and theory. Some of them are good in theory and some of them are good in practicals, and some of them knows a lot of folk music but they don't know Western music. It depends on what kind of courses and which is equivalent to that course of opening in the college. So if it suits me, then I would really be happy to teach in college or any institution.
Thank you for your time and good luck in your future endeavor.
Thank you so much.
Three steps to stay protected and stay safe from COVID-19. Wear face mask, 2 gaz ki duri to maintain social distancing, maintain hand and face hygiene. And now let us endeavour to know more about the special places that are nestled in the cozy corners of India's northeast. Today we are heading to a place in Meghalaya called Jaway. What makes Jaway special? Let's hear all about it.
Jaway is the headquarters of the West Jaintia Hills district of Meghalaya, which is home to the Nar, a sub-tribe of the Khasi community. It is located on a plateau surrounded on 3 sides by the Mindu River, bordering Bangladesh to the south. Due to its high altitude of 1,365 meters above sea level, Jaway experiences warm summers with cool to chilly winters. Jaway is an important business and education hub for the entire district, catering to local students as well as those from the adjacent parts of Assam and Bangladesh. The Nar community enjoys different types of delicacies made from meat and fish, particularly pork. A variety of savory pork dishes like jado, dokle, dojem and dosnam are prepared according to traditional recipes. A strong-smelling tungtok made from fermented beans and tungtap, a variety of dry fish, are 2 of the most popular forms of local chutney. Jaway, the exquisitely beautiful destination located in the Jaintia Hills, is renowned for its scenic vistas that are exclusive to this region. Enclosed by Mindu River from 3 sides, it maintains chilly winters while the summers are pleasant. The place is a humble fusion of heritage and vibrant culture that reflects the lifestyle of the locals. Both global and domestic tourists adore witnessing the 2 festivals of Jaway, which are Chhat Sukra. It literally means to dance with joy for good physical and mental health. In Jaway, it is celebrated as a bonding process to facilitate the spirit of unity and amity. This festival is held in the months of April or May, before the agrarian population leave for sowing seeds in their respective fields. Another most essential here is Behdenkram. This important and famous festival of Nar tribes is held after the sowing season. The ecstatic sites abound with lakes, waterfalls, historical bridges, and lush green parks that hold great potential as a tourist destination. The place is famous for many iconic tourist destinations in the state. Some of the tourist places which this region can offer are Sintuk Syar, Tirchi Falls, Jaway Presbyterian Church and Tadlakian Lake. Sintuk Syar is a valley well irrigated by the Mindu River. Also called Madan Madaya or Uncle's Ground, it is situated in the valley and has historical importance as the site of the freedom struggle's rise. Today, the ground has a monument of Yu Kyang Nangba, a fighter of the Khasi people. Tirchi Falls is a waterfall located approximately 8 kilometers from the heart of Jaway. A pretty arch bridge connects an expanse of green paddy fields which open up to the Tirchi Falls, thundering down to the Pinsor below. Jaway Presbyterian Church is the oldest church in Jaintia Hills, built by the Welsh Presbyterian Mission in the latter part of the 19th century. It is one of the few structures in town that retain British architectural influence. The Tadlakian Lake is a popular tourist spot. It was dug by Sajad Nangli, a follower of the former Jaintia king. Lamshnong village is a village that came into limelight recently after it was confirmed that the Umlawan caves situated in this village is the longest and also the deepest in the subcontinent. It is interconnected with 2 other caves, namely Kotsati and Umskor. The total length of these caves is more than 21 kilometers and about 100 meters in depth. Dotted across the entire district, there are numerous caves and caverns with spectacular stalagmites and stalactite formations. With Rustam, this is Suparna Saikya.
With that, we have come to the end of this edition of Northeast Diary. Do join us next week to hear more stories from this enchanting part of India. Goodbye.